She was 6 months from retirement, tired, broken on the inside, carrying a guilt so heavy not even the rosary in her pocket could absolve it. And then Juca barked. It was a different kind of bark, an urgent one. And when they opened that gray suitcase at Guarulhos Airport, what they found inside changed everything. A newborn baby, wrapped in a damp blanket, alone, abandoned like luggage. Helena didn't know that in saving that life, she would also be saving her own. Helena ran a hand over her face. Her skin was rough with fatigue. On the monitor, the last report of the shift blinked back at her. Another empty night at Guarulhos Airport. "How much longer are you staying?" Marcos, the night supervisor, asked. "Just finishing this up," Helena replied. The clock read 5 in the morning. She closed the folder and tucked the rosary into her uniform pocket. The metal felt cold against her fingers. 6 years since that case. A missing child. Helena had arrived too late. "You need to rest," Marcos said. "I know." But she didn't know how to rest. She only knew how to work. Only knew how to try and make up for what she could no longer fix. In the federal police kennels, Juca's ears perked up. Andre, his handler, was fastening the leash to his harness. The dog was a 7-year veteran. Firm muscles, an attentive gaze. "Good boy," Andre said. "Time for a sweep." Juca gave a single, short, controlled wag of his tail. He knew the ritual. He knew what was coming. The airport corridor was silent. Few passengers moved at this hour. The fluorescent lights hummed above the baggage carousels. Helena met Andre at the entrance to the arrivals hall. Juca sat beside him, the dog's eyes fixed on Helena. She gave a slight nod. "Ready to start?" Andre asked. "Always," she said. Juca stood, his nose already low, sampling the air. His nostrils flared and contracted in a steady rhythm. The carousel began to turn, suitcases inching along. Helena watched the pattern. There was always a pattern when something was wrong. "Last round of the day," said Andre. "Let's hope it's quiet," Helena replied. But something in her chest tightened, an old feeling, a warning she had learned not to ignore. Juca moved toward the carousel, his tail low now, completely focused. The belt turned without haste. Black suitcases, blue, gray. They all looked the same under the white light. Juca walked parallel to their movement, his nose down. Helena kept a distance of 3 meters. It was protocol. Let the dog work without interference. "Anything?" Andre asked. "Not yet," said Helena. 20 more bags passed. Juca kept pacing. His breathing was calm, regular, professional. Then something changed. Juca's body went rigid. His legs locked. His tail froze mid-air. Helena felt her pulse quicken. "Juca!" Andre called. The dog didn't move. His eyes were fixed on a medium-sized, hard-shell gray suitcase. No tag in sight. Juca barked. A short, sharp, loud report. "Shit," Helena said. The sound cut through the terminal's silence. Passengers turned their heads. A security agent came running. "What is it?" the agent asked. "He's got a hit," said Andre. Helena already had her radio in hand, calling for backup, initiating the isolation protocol. Juca barked again, more insistent now, his entire body vibrating with tension. "Secure the area," Helena told the agent. Lieutenant Alvaro arrived in less than 2 minutes, his uniform immaculate, his face hard. He looked at the suitcase, then at Juca, Are you sure? Alvaro asked. He never misses, Andre said. I want the scanner on it before anything else, Alvaro ordered. Helena called the technical team. Two men arrived with the portable unit. As the scanner slid over the suitcase, the monitor showed dense, organic shapes. There's a heat signature, one of the techs said. Heat? Alvaro asked. Something's alive in there. A heavy silence fell. Helena looked at Juca. The dog remained motionless, his nose pointed at the bag like a statue. Take it to the inspection room, Alvaro said. Now. Two agents lifted the suitcase. Helena followed. So did Juca. The corridor seemed longer than usual. The inspection room smelled of disinfectant. White walls, a metal table in the center. The gray suitcase sat under a harsh light. Helena stood on one side, Alvaro on the other. Andre held Juca by the leash. Two agents stood guard at the door. Standard protocol, Alvaro said. Cameras are on. Full recording. Understood, Helena said. She pulled on a pair of rubber gloves. Her fingers were sweating inside the latex. Her heart hammered against her ribs. Juca pulled at his leash, wanting to get closer. Andre held him firm. Easy, boy, Andre said. The dog whimpered, low and anxious. Helena looked at Alvaro. He gave a sharp nod. Silent authorization. I'm opening it, she said. Slowly, said Alvaro. She touched the zipper. The metal was cold. She pulled it slowly. 5 centimeters, 10, 15. The inner lining was dark, thick cotton. There was a strange smell. Not drugs, not explosives. Keep going, Alvaro commanded. Helena pulled the zipper to the end. She parted the edges of the suitcase. Absolute silence. Inside there was a light blue blanket, damp. Something was moving beneath it. What the hell? One of the agents at the door whispered. Helena held her breath. She carefully peeled back the blanket, her fingers trembling. A small face. Closed eyes. Reddish skin. My God, Helena breathed. A baby. A newborn baby girl. I need medics here now, Alvaro shouted into his radio. Emergency! Code red. Helena gathered the blanket, wrapping the child carefully. The tiny body was cold. Far too cold. Juca stopped whimpering. He sat, immobile, his eyes fixed on the bundle. How long has she been in there? Andre asked. I don't know, Helena said, but not long. The baby stirred. Her mouth opened. A faint sound escaped, almost inaudible. Hang on, Helena whispered. You hang on with me. A small, weak but real cry followed. The baby opened her eyes for a second, then closed them again. Is she breathing? Alvaro asked. Yes, Helena said, but it's too slow. An agent brought a thermal blanket. Helena wrapped it around the child. The tiny body trembled. Her skin was pale. Where is that ambulance? Alvaro yelled. 3 minutes out, a voice crackled on the radio. Helena held the baby to her chest, trying to share her warmth, her life. Her own heart was out of rhythm. Juca stood up. Andre let the leash go slack. The dog approached slowly and sat beside Helena. No barking, no jumping. He just stayed there. Good boy, Helena said. Juca's nose gently touched the blanket. Then he drew back, his eyes fixed on the child. How old do you think she is? Andre asked. Days, Helena said. maybe hours. The door flew open. Two paramedics entered with a small gurney. A woman in a white coat was right behind them. Dr. Ligia, Alvaro said, thank you for coming. Where is she? The doctor asked. Helena held out the baby. Ligia took her with practiced hands, performing a rapid assessment. Eyes, mouth, chest. Hypothermia, Ligia said. I need to get her out of here now. You can use our escort, Alvaro offered. I'll take it, she said. The paramedics placed the baby in a portable incubator. The unit began to warm, red lights blinking on its panel. I'm going with you, Helena said. You're off duty, Alvaro reminded her. I'm going with you, she repeated. Alvaro looked at her, then at the baby. He sighed. Fine, but I want a full report later. You'll have it. Helena followed the paramedics. Juca tried to come too. Andre grabbed his leash again. You stay, he said. The dog pulled, whining. He didn't want to stay. He can come, Dr. Ligia said. He helped save her. Andre released the leash. Juca trotted to Helena's side. She touched his head. Come on, she said. Let's go take care of her. The ambulance pulled away, sirens wailing. Helena sat beside the incubator. Juca lay on the floor between the equipment, his nose pointed toward the baby. Vitals? Helena asked. Stable for now, a paramedic answered. But we need to move fast. The monitor beeped, each sound marking a beat of the tiny heart. Helena counted silently. 60 per minute. Too low. How long until the hospital? She asked. 8 minutes, the driver replied. The city blurred past the window. Buildings, cars, people starting their day. No one knew what was happening inside that ambulance. Helena clutched the rosary in her pocket, her fingers tightening on the beads. She hadn't prayed in years, but the words came on their own now. Holy Mary, Mother of God, she whispered. The beeping changed, faster, irregular. Problem? The paramedic said. What is it? Helena asked. Her temperature is dropping again. He increased the heat, checked the sensors, adjusted the tubes. The baby squirmed inside the blanket. Juca stood, resting his front paws on the gurney, looking at the child. A low whine rumbled in his throat. Easy, Helena told the dog. But she wasn't calm. Fear twisted in her stomach. The old guilt returned. Another life in her hands. Arriving now, the driver called out. The ambulance braked. The doors swung open. Dr. Ligia was waiting at the entrance with a full team beside her. Straight to the NICU, she commanded. The paramedics ran with the incubator. Helena followed. So did Juca. A security guard tried to stop the dog. He stays, Ligia said. He's part of the team. The hospital corridor smelled of alcohol and soap. Automatic doors slid open. Nurses prepped a room. Everything was happening too fast. You wait here, Ligia told Helena. But here, Ligia repeated firmly. The door to the unit closed, and Helena was left in the hallway. Juca sat beside her. They both stared at the door, waiting. 40 minutes later, it opened. Ligia emerged, pulling off her gloves. She looked tired, but calm. How is she? Helena asked. Stabilized, Ligia said. Her temperature is rising, her breathing is better. Helena felt the air return to her lungs. She hadn't realized she'd been holding her breath. Can I see her? Through the glass, Ligia said. You can't go in yet. She led Helena to a window. On the other side was a large incubator. The baby was inside. Wires and sensors covered her tiny body, but her chest was rising and falling, steadily. Will she survive? Helena asked. It depends on the next 24 hours, Ligia said. But she has a chance. A good one. Juca pressed his nose to the glass. He stood there, watching. He knows, Ligia said. Animals sense these things. He's the one who found her, Helena said. At the airport. He barked at the suitcase. Then she owes him her life. Helena touched the glass, her hand cold against the surface. The baby slept, peaceful for the first time. I need to notify Child Protective Services, Helena said. Start the paperwork. Any documents? Ligia asked. Nothing. Just the suitcase and the blanket. This is going to be complicated, Ligia said. It always is, Helena replied. A nurse brought forms. Helena filled in what she could. Name, unknown. Parents, unknown. Origin, unknown. Each empty field was a question without an answer. I'll have to investigate, Helena said. Find out who did this. Do you think it was abandonment? Ligia asked. Or worse, Atemo, Helena said. Could be trafficking. Could be a lot of things. Juca sat down again, tired now, his tongue hanging out. Helena got him some water from a bottle. He drank slowly. You two did good work today, Ligia said. The work is just beginning, Helena answered. Helena returned to the airport at 3 in the afternoon. She had slept for 2 hours, taken a quick shower at home. Now she was in the monitoring room. Alvaro already had the cameras queued up. 6 screens showed different angles of the arrivals hall. Estimated time? Alvaro asked. Between midnight and 3 a.m., Helena said. When did the flight from Recife get in? Lot of people, Alvaro said, as the images showed dozens of passengers. Suitcases, carts, a constant flow of motion. Helena played the footage in slow motion, watching every person, every gesture, every broken pattern. There, she said. A figure had stopped near the carousel. A hood covered their face, a cart in hand. The person looked around, then abandoned the cart and walked off quickly. Can you zoom in? Helena asked. Alvaro tried. The image became grainy. The face remained a blur. Impossible to ID, he said. Shit. But we have the cart, Helena said. Juca can get a scent. They went down to the lost and found depot. The metal cart was there, its wheels worn. Nothing special about it. Andre brought Juca in. The dog was alert, ready to work. Smell, Helena commanded. Juca approached the cart. His nose traced the wheels, the handle, the basket. Then he froze, his entire body locked in attention. He recognizes it, Andre said. Same scent? Alvaro asked. He's never wrong, Helena said. Juca moved with purpose, following an invisible trail. He passed through a doorway and down a corridor, stopping before a service area. What's in there? Helena asked. A cleaning supply depot, Alvaro replied. Restricted access. Let's see, she said. The storeroom was dark. Helena flicked on her flashlight, the beam cutting through the gloom to reveal shelves stocked with cleaning products, brooms, and buckets. The air was thick with the sharp scent of chlorine. Juca entered cautiously, his ears pricked forward as he sniffed every corner. Find something? Alvaro asked. He's on the hunt, Andre said. The dog came to a halt before a metal locker, scratching its door once before turning his gaze to Helena. Open it, she commanded. Alvaro pulled the door open, revealing a jumble of old uniforms, rags, and discarded supplies. Juca pushed his snout into the pile of fabric and pulled something out with his teeth, a scrap of blue cloth. "It's from the blanket," Helena said, taking the fabric. It was torn and stained, but unmistakably the same material that had been wrapped around the baby. "So whoever did this had access here," Alvaro said. "Or knew someone who did," Helena added. Alvaro raised his radio, calling security to request a list of everyone with authorized access to the area. Helena carefully placed the scrap into an evidence bag. Every clue mattered. Every fragment was a step closer to the truth. "This is going to be a long investigation," Alvaro said. "I know. You don't have to stay on this," he offered. "You can pass it to another team." Helena glanced at Juca. The dog was sitting, tired but alert, awaiting his next command. "No," she said. "I'm staying." "Why?" "Because she needs someone," Helena replied. "And this time, I made it." Alvaro nodded, understanding without another word. As Helena left the storeroom, she pulled out her phone and typed a message to her daughter. "Camila, we need to talk. Something important happened today." She sent it, then waited. Nothing. Juca nudged his head against her leg. Helena stroked his rough coat, feeling the animal's warmth. "We're going to see this through to the end," she murmured. "You and me." The dog looked up, his brown eyes gleaming in the dim light. Outside, the afternoon was fading. The airport hummed with activity, thousands of people bustling past, each with their own story, their own secrets. And somewhere among them, someone knew what had happened to that baby. Helena was going to find out who. She arrived at the hospital at 7 the next morning, running on 3 hours of sleep. Her body ached, but her mind was racing. Juca trotted beside her. Andre had managed to get special permissions for the dog to visit. "Any improvement?" Helena asked at the reception desk. "She's stable," the nurse said. "Dr. Ligia is with her." The neonatology corridor was silent, its walls painted a soft peach under gentle lighting. Helena stopped at the glass viewing window. The baby was sleeping in her incubator. Fewer wires now. Her skin a healthier shade of pink, alive. "Good morning," a voice said from behind her. It was Ligia. "How was her night?" Helena asked. "Uneventful," the doctor replied. "Normal temperature, steady heartbeat." Juca propped his front paws on the glass, watching the child. His tail gave a single, slow wag. "He misses her," Ligia observed. "I think so," Helena agreed. Ligia held up a chart, showing her the test results, a sea of numbers and graphs. Helena didn't understand all of it, but she understood what mattered. "Is she going to be okay?" "If she continues like this, yes," Ligia said. "But it's still early." "And after?" Helena asked. "What happens to her?" "Child Protective Services takes over. Probably a temporary shelter, then adoption." Helena felt a tightness in her chest. The baby had no name, no family, nothing. "Unless they find the parents," Ligia added. "I'm working on it," Helena said. A nurse brought the blanket, now clean. It was light blue, dry, and smelled of hospital soap. "You kept it?" Helena asked. "You asked us to," the nurse said. Helena took the fabric, folding it carefully. It was evidence, but it was also a memory. I have to get back to the airport, she said. Continue the investigation. Will you manage? Ligia asked. I have to, Helena replied. Juca licked her hand, a warm, damp, comforting gesture. You're not alone in this, Ligia said. Helena looked from the dog to the baby. 2 lives, connected by a bark. I know. When Helena arrived at the airport's monitoring room, she found Alvaro already there. He hadn't slept either. His red-rimmed eyes gave him away. Brought you coffee, she said. Thanks. He took the plastic cup. The coffee was bitter, strong, necessary. I got something, Alvaro said. The list of employees with access to the depot. How many? 17. But 3 were off that night. So 14, Helena mused. Alvaro showed her a spreadsheet with names, job functions, and shifts. Helena began circling names. These 4 were working in the arrivals area. Already requested their service records, he said. Juca, who had been lying in a corner, twitched his ears at every sound. There's one more thing, Alvaro said. We checked the domestic flights from that morning. And? There was a 40-minute delay on the flight from Recife. A technical problem. 40 minutes is more than enough time, Helena said. For what? To hide a baby, she replied, and disappear before anyone noticed. Alvaro brought up a new image on the screen. A camera feed from a service corridor, time-stamped 2:47 a.m. A figure hurried past. Hood up, backpack on, a slim frame, likely a woman. Is it the same person? Helena asked. Different angle, Alvaro said. But it could be. Helena zoomed in on the image. There was a symbol on the backpack, small and hard to make out. What is that? Looks like a cross, Alvaro said. A hospital? Helena wondered aloud. Or a clinic? Her instincts screamed. The clue was right there, hiding in plain sight. Juca might be able to help again. How? Take him to that corridor. See if he finds anything else. Alvaro looked from the dog to Helena, then sighed. All right. But be careful. The service corridor was empty. It was noon, lunchtime, the perfect time to work without interference. Helena let Juca off his leash. The dog began to sniff, methodical and professional. Find it, she commanded. Juca followed a scent, moving past doors and around corners until he stopped at a secondary storage room. This one? Alvaro asked. Helena tried the door. Locked. Alvaro produced a master key, and the lock clicked open. Inside were boxes, old carts, and discarded equipment, all covered in a fine layer of dust. Juca entered slowly, his snout brushing the floor. Suddenly, he froze, pointing. He's found something, Helena said. Andre approached, looking where Juca indicated, the wheels of a trolley. It looks clean, Andre said. He smells it, Helena insisted. Juca circled the cart, then moved to its side and scratched at a cardboard box. Open it, Alvaro said. Helena pulled the box open. Inside were rags, old towels, and at the bottom another piece of blue fabric. It's from the blanket, she said. She put on a glove and examined it. It had old, dark brown stains. Could be blood, Alvaro said. It needs to be analyzed, Helena replied. Alvaro photographed everything while Helena marked the position of the box. Every detail mattered. But Juca wasn't finished. He kept sniffing, pacing back and forth, restless. "What is it, boy?" Helena asked. The dog stopped in front of a low cabinet, scratched the door, and looked up at her. "Again?" Alvaro asked. Helena opened it. Inside were white, sealed plastic bags. "Hospital waste," she said. "Hospital? Look at the symbol," Helena pointed. In the corner of the bag was a small, discreet red cross, identical to the one on the backpack. "Someone brought this from outside," Alvaro realized, "and tried to hide it here," Helena finished. Juca sat, his work done. Helena stroked his head, a silent gesture of pride. "Good boy." "We need to find out where this waste came from," Alvaro said. "And fast," Helena added, "before they destroy any more evidence." Helena returned to the hospital at 6 that evening, exhausted. But she had to see the baby. Juca had stayed behind at the kennel to rest. The neonatology ward was quiet, with few visitors at this hour. She stopped at the glass. The baby was moving her tiny, fragile arms, each movement a sign of her own burgeoning life. "She woke up today," Ligia said, appearing beside her. "Really?" "For a few minutes. Looked around, cried a little." Helena felt a strange mix of emotions. Relief, joy, fear, all at once. "Can I go in?" "You'll have to gown up." Helena washed her hands, then put on a gown, mask, and gloves. She entered the warm, humid room slowly. The incubator hummed softly. As she drew closer, she saw the baby was asleep again, eyes closed, lips slightly parted. "You can touch her," Ligia said. Helena reached out. Her finger brushed the baby's minuscule palm, soft and warm. The tiny fingers curled, gripping her finger. It was a reflex, but it felt like a choice. "Hi," Helena whispered. Her throat tightened, and her eyes burned. When was the last time she had cried? "You're doing good work," Ligia said softly. "I just want to find who did this to her." "And then what?" Helena didn't have an answer. The after was a nebulous, uncertain future. "The state will assume temporary custody," Ligia explained. "Probably this week. And if the parents show up? That depends on the circumstances, on their intentions." Helena looked at the baby. So small, so vulnerable, so alone. "She deserves better." "Everyone does," Ligia agreed. Helena gently pulled her finger away. The baby's hand opened, empty once more. "I have to go. Will you be back tomorrow?" "I'll try," Helena said, but she knew she would. She wouldn't be able to stay away. The news had leaked. Helena knew it the moment she saw the press vans parked in front of the airport. "Shit," she muttered. Alvaro was already facing a wall of reporters, cameras, and microphones. "Lieutenant, is it true a baby was found abandoned? Is the child okay? Do you have any suspects?" Alvaro's face was a neutral mask. Professional, cold. "I cannot comment on an ongoing investigation." Helena slipped in through a side entrance, avoiding the cameras, and went straight to her office. "Who leaked it?" she demanded as Alvaro walked in behind her. "I don't know," he said. "But now it's a circus." The phone was ringing off the hook. Emails flooded in. Interview requests. Demands for information. "The baby can't become a spectacle," Helena said. "I agree, but we can't control the media." She picked up her phone and called Ligia. It rang 3 times. "Regional Hospital. Dr. Ligia, please." A moment of hold music. Helena tapped her fingers on the desk. Ligia. It's Helena. Has the press gotten to you yet? Not yet, Ligia said. But I'm sure they're on their way. Reinforce security, Helena urged. Don't let anyone take pictures. Already on it. But you know how it is. Helena knew. The story would spread, become a headline. Baby abandoned in suitcase. The child would lose her privacy before she even had an identity. I need to solve this fast. Do what you can, Ligia said. Helena hung up. Alvaro was at the window watching the chaos below. They're going to want results. They'll get them, she said. Andre entered with Juca. The dog seemed to sense the tension and stayed close to Helena. Did the vet clear him to work? She asked. He did, Andre confirmed. He's fine. Helena stroked Juca's familiar rough coat. Then let's get to work. The sweep began at 5 the next morning. Less foot traffic meant more room to investigate. Helena, Andre, and Juca were on a secondary runway in the cargo area, far from the main terminal. Why here? Andre asked. A hunch, Helena said. Juca began to sniff, moving past shipping containers, pallets, and baggage carts. The sky was beginning to lighten, a sliver of orange on the horizon as the airport slowly woke up. Suddenly, Juca froze. His body went rigid, his snout pointing. He's marked something, Andre said. Helena approached. It was a large industrial dumpster with a metal lid. Open it. Andre lifted the lid. A foul smell rose from the common trash. Paper, plastic. But Juca was insistent, his focus unwavering. He's on to something specific in there, Andre said. Helena pulled on gloves and began to sift through the rubbish, layer by layer, careful not to contaminate anything. Near the bottom, she found torn documents, crumpled papers, and a bracelet. What the hell? She murmured. It was a hospital bracelet. White plastic. The printed letters were partially destroyed, but as Helena pieced the fragments together, she could make out the code. PAC. Patient, Andre said. From a hospital, Helena confirmed. The date is from last month. Does this connect to the baby? It could connect to the mother. She photographed everything, then placed the bracelet in an evidence bag. Her heart was pounding. We need to find out which hospital uses this format. Andre got on his radio to call Alvaro, explaining what they'd found. Send it to the lab, Alvaro's voice crackled back. I need a full analysis. I'm on my way, Helena said. Juca sat, a quiet satisfaction in his posture. Another job well done. Helena knelt beside him, looking deep into his brown eyes. You're incredible, she whispered. His tail gave two sharp, rapid thumps against the floor. Now we have a real lead, said Andre. Now we have a chance, Helena added. The sun crested the horizon, bathing the city in the light of a new day, a new hope. Helena secured the bracelet. That small piece of plastic could change everything. The lab analysis took 6 agonizing hours. Helena waited, pacing, walking, sitting, standing, then repeating the cycle, the minutes crawling by. Alvaro finally arrived, holding a stack of papers, his face grim. I got it, he said. What? Helena asked, jumping to her feet. I traced the bracelet's design, Alvaro explained. 3 private hospitals use this pattern. 3? But only one is near the airport, Alvaro said, pointing to an address on the map. A peripheral neighborhood in the East Zone. 40 minutes by car. Are we going now? Helena asked. You're exhausted, Alvaro noted. I'm fine. That's a lie, he said softly. But we're going anyway. They took an unmarked car. Andre brought Juca. The traffic was heavy under the hot afternoon sun. The address led them to an old three-story building. Its facade was peeling, revealing layers of neglect. A small, faded sign read, Clínica Santa Cruz. Here, Helena murmured. Here, Alvaro confirmed. The gate was ajar. Helena pushed it, and it groaned in protest. The internal corridor smelled of mold and decay. The walls were a jaundiced yellow, lit by a single flickering bulb. Anyone here? Helena called out. Silence. Juca led the way, his nose to the ground, every sense on high alert. His ears rotated like small satellites, catching every faint sound. Looks abandoned, Andre said. Or pretending to be, Helena countered. They climbed the stairs, the steps worn smooth with time, the handrail loose in its fittings. On the second floor, Juca stopped in front of a locked door. He scratched it once, a definitive sound. Here, Helena said. Alvaro worked on the lock. It took 2 tries before the door gave way. Inside, the room was empty save for old gurneys and dust-covered equipment, but there were signs of recent use. Look at this, Andre said, pointing to a shelf. Empty vials were lined up, their labels showing recent dates. The latest was from only a week ago. Helena picked one up and sniffed it. Alcohol and antiseptic. Someone was using this. Recently. A clandestine operation, Alvaro wondered aloud. Or worse, Helena said. Juca was nosing through the corners, then stopped at a drawer. Helena pulled it open. Inside were papers, forms, and more bracelets. 5 of them, all identical to the one they'd found. My God, Helena breathed. How many? We don't know, Alvaro said grimly, but it wasn't just one. A wave of nausea washed over Helena. How many babies? How many mothers? How much suffering had these walls witnessed? I need to call for backup, Alvaro said, his voice tight. This is big. Call them, Helena said. Now. 4 hours later, the clinic was a swarm of activity. Forensics teams, investigators, photographers. Helena watched from the outside, exhausted but relieved. They found records, Alvaro said, walking over to her. Records of what? Births, he said. At least 12 in the last 3 months. 12, Helena repeated, the number feeling heavy and cold. All without proper documentation. All the mothers vanished afterward. Helena closed her eyes, the weight of it all pressing down on her. Is our baby on that list? We don't know yet. The records are coded, no full names. But we're close, she said, more to convince herself than him. We are, Alvaro agreed. The sun was setting, painting the horizon in shades of blood red. Helena took out her phone and dialed Ligia. It rang twice. Hospital, a familiar voice answered. How is she? Helena asked. Getting better every hour, Ligia said warmly. She even smiled today. Helena felt a warmth spread through her chest. A smile. Something so simple, so profound. Can I stop by? Of course, Ligia replied. Always. Helena hung up and looked at Juca, who was resting in the back of the car, tired but content. He'd earned it. Andre, she called. Take him to the kennel. Let him rest. And you? I'm going to the hospital. Are you okay? I will be, Helena said. She got into her own car and drove through the city in silence, the blur of lights a stark contrast to the darkness she felt inside. Life went on for everyone else, but nothing was normal anymore. Not for her. She reached the hospital and practically ran up to the nursery. She stopped at the glass, her breath fogging it slightly. The baby was sleeping peacefully, safe. Ligia was standing nearby. Did you find something? Ligia asked. I did, Helena said. And it's far from over. But will it end well? Helena looked at the tiny, resilient child. It will, she said, her voice filled with a conviction she hadn't felt in years. I promise. The rain began at 10 p.m. A light drizzle at first. It soon thickened into a torrential downpour. Helena sat in the unmarked car, parked 50 meters from the clinic. Any movement? Alvaro's voice crackled over the radio. Nothing yet, she replied. Juca was in the back seat, alert, his eyes fixed on the rain-slicked street. 3 hours they had waited. Their coffee was cold, their muscles tense. The rain drummed a relentless rhythm on the roof. Maybe they're not coming back, Andre said from the other car. They'll be back, Helena insisted. They left evidence. They'll come back to clean up. Alvaro was coordinating from a van down the street. 2 agents covered the rear exit. The plan was in place. The street was deserted, the streetlights flickering in the storm. Then, a pair of headlights cut through the gloom. A car without a front license plate approached slowly. Movement, Helena said into the radio. Confirmed, Alvaro replied. Hold your positions. The car stopped in front of the clinic. 2 figures emerged, their faces obscured by hoods, backpacks slung over their shoulders. It's them. Don't move yet, Alvaro commanded. Let them get inside. Helena gripped the steering wheel, her knuckles white. Juca rose silently in the back. The figures slipped through a side door and vanished into the building. Now? Andre asked. Not yet. I want to catch them with the evidence in hand. 5 minutes passed. 10. The rain intensified. A light flickered on in a second-floor window. They're retrieving something, Helena observed. Go, Alvaro said. Seal the perimeter. Helena was out of the car in an instant. Juca a loyal shadow at her heels. The cold rain hit her like a physical blow. They raced for the entrance as Andre and his team moved in from the sides and rear. Federal police! Helena yelled, bursting through the door. The sound of panicked footsteps, a scramble, something falling. Heading up, Andre shouted. Helena took the stairs 2 at a time, Juca a blur of motion ahead of her, barking, pursuing. On the second floor, a door was swinging wildly in a dark hallway. There, she yelled. A figure was scrambling onto the fire escape, a heavy backpack weighing them down. Juca lunged forward. Helena followed. The rain lashed in through the open window. The external staircase groaned, the wet metal treacherous. Stop! Helena commanded. There's nowhere to go! But the figure kept going, leaping the last flight of stairs and landing hard in the alley below. Helena descended as fast as she could. Juca was already on the ground, tracking the scent through the downpour. The alley opened into a large warehouse, its main gate slightly ajar. Helena paused at the threshold, her breathing heavy, weapon raised. Andre, what's your position? She said into her radio. Circling around from the right. Alvaro? On my way. Juca stood at the entrance, his rain-soaked fur plastered to his body, his nose working overtime. Helena moved in slowly, her flashlight beam cutting through the oppressive darkness. Piles of boxes, backpacks, plastic bags, a trove of material. Federal police! Come out with your hands up! Silence. Juca pulled her to the left. She followed his lead. The light danced over a narrow corridor between stacks of crates. A flicker of movement. A shadow. There! Footsteps echoed as a door slammed shut. Juca shot forward. Helena sprinted after him. The door led to another alley. The suspect was gone, swallowed by the night. I lost him, she reported. Focus on the warehouse, Alvaro ordered. He might come back for it. Andre appeared at the entrance, soaked and breathless. There's so much stuff in here. Helena turned back inside and began to search. Open boxes, documents, forms. Look at this, Andre said, holding up a heavy cloth backpack. Helena unzipped it. Inside were folders, more hospital bracelets, and a list of names. These are the mothers, she said, her voice hushed. Are there addresses? Some. And codes. Juca was sniffing at another stack. He stopped and let out a single sharp bark. What is it, boy? The dog pawed at a cardboard box. Helena tore it open. Medical records, dozens of them. All for births, all from the last few weeks. My God, Helena whispered. They documented everything. Why? Andre asked. Control, she guessed. Or to sell the information. Alvaro entered with 2 agents, his face hardening as he took in the scene. This is a massive operation. Bigger than we thought, Helena agreed. We need forensics here. Now, Alvaro commanded. Helena kept searching. Each folder told a story. Each name was a life. At the bottom of the backpack, she found a sealed plastic envelope. She tore it open. Inside were copies of birth certificates, more bracelets, and a photograph. A newborn baby, wrapped in a blue blanket. It's her, Helena breathed. Her heart clenched. This was the proof, the final connection. 30 minutes later, the warehouse was flooded with light and personnel. Helena stepped outside to breathe. The rain had stopped, and the sky was clearing, revealing a smattering of stars. Juca limped to her side. What happened? She asked, kneeling. She examined his front paw. A cut, not deep, but bleeding. You got hurt. He let out a low whimper, as if trying to hide the pain. Andre brought the first aid kit. Helena cleaned the wound. Juca trembled but stood his ground. Good boy, she murmured. Hold still. She bandaged his paw, snug but not too tight. He tested it, wincing. You need rest. But Juca wasn't interested in rest. He was already pulling toward the warehouse again, his instinct overriding the pain. He doesn't stop, Andre remarked. He never does, Helena said. Alvaro emerged, holding a cell phone in an evidence bag. Found this in a corner. Still has a charge. Can you access it? No password. It has a recent call log. Helena took the phone. 10 numbers. None of them saved. Can you trace these? Already sent them to the tech team. The rain started again, a fine mist now. Helena looked up at the sky. The exhaustion was a physical weight on her shoulders, but she couldn't stop. Juca sat beside her, his bandaged paw extended, waiting. You really should see a vet, she told him. He just looked at her, his gaze firm and resolute. All right, but take it easy. Alvaro called them over for a quick briefing. We have enough here to start making arrests, but our main suspect got away. He'll be back, Helena said. How do you know? Because there's something in here he needs, she replied. Something that can incriminate him for good. What is it? I don't know yet, Helena admitted, but Juca will find it. 2 hours later, the trail was cold. The suspect hadn't returned. The phone numbers were all burners. The security cameras were useless, their angles obscured by the rain. Helena sat on the curb, her head in her hands. We lost him, Andre said, his voice flat. No, Helena said, though her own voice lacked conviction. We just haven't found him yet. An old, familiar guilt began to creep in. The feeling of being one step behind, of not being good enough. Juca padded over to her, still limping, and sat directly in front of her. His brown eyes were calm, confident. What is it, boy? She asked. He just stared, waiting. And in that steady gaze, something shifted for Helena. A clarity, a certainty. You know something, don't you? Juca stood up, turned, and started walking. Where's he going? Andre asked. I don't know, Helena said, getting to her feet. But I'm following him. Alvaro gave her a skeptical look, but didn't stop her. Andre, go with her. Helena followed Juca as he moved with slow, determined steps. He led them past the warehouse, down the alley, and into a narrow, dark corridor that reeked of mold. He stopped before a rusty metal door secured with a heavy padlock. Here? The dog scratched at the door insistently. Andre produced a pair of bolt cutters. With a snap, the lock fell away. The door creaked open into absolute blackness. Helena switched on her flashlight. A long hallway with peeling walls and closed doors stretched before them. Juca trotted ahead and stopped at the third door on the left. This one, she said. Andre forced the handle. The door swung open. Inside was more material, boxes, papers, and a desk with an old computer. Turn it on, Helena ordered. Andre hit the power button. The machine whirred to life. A blue screen, then a desktop. No password, Andre said, surprised. Helena sat down and started clicking through folders. Files, spreadsheets, names, dates, payments. It was all documented. It's their accounting, she said, her voice a mix of horror and triumph. My God, Andre, how many? Too many, she answered herself. Far too many. Juca lay down beside the desk, finally allowing himself to rest. Helena looked at him, overcome with gratitude, with admiration, with something far deeper. You're a hero, she said softly. You know that, right? The tail wagged. Weak but happy. Helena spent 2 hours at the computer, cataloging, saving, printing. Andre coordinated the removal of evidence while Alvaro supervised. The sun was beginning to rise, a slice of orange on the horizon, heralding a new day. Find anything useful? Alvaro asked. I found everything, Helena said. She gestured to the spreadsheets on her screen. Names of clients, amounts paid, transaction dates. This is a baby trafficking ring, she stated flatly. On a massive scale, Alvaro murmured, his eyes scanning the data. Our girl is here, Helena said, her finger tracing a line on the monitor. Code 042. Alvaro leaned in, reading the details. Date of birth, hospital of origin, the price. Son of a bitch, he whispered. There's more, Helena continued. The mother's name is in a separate folder. She opened another file. It was a list of contacts, phone numbers, and partial addresses. She's on the run, fled before the delivery was finalized. So she abandoned the baby, Alvaro concluded. Or she tried to save her, Helena countered softly, in the only way she could. Suddenly, Juca shot to his feet, ears pricked, body tense. What is it, boy? Helena asked. The dog bolted to the door, letting out a series of loud, urgent barks. Someone's coming, Andre said, his voice low. Helena drew her weapon. Alvaro did the same. They took up positions on either side of the doorway. Footsteps echoed in the corridor, fast, heavy. The door burst open. A man stumbled in, his eyes wide, his hands empty. Don't move, Helena yelled. The man froze, his gaze darting from the uniforms to the dog, taking in the scene. On the ground, Alvaro commanded. Now! The man obeyed, dropping to his knees and then to his stomach, hands locked behind his neck, his face pressed against the cold floor. Andre moved in, cuffing him and patting him down. He was unarmed. Are you the one running this whole thing? Helena asked. Silence. Answer me, Alvaro barked. I want a lawyer, the man mumbled into the floor. Helena crouched beside him, her face close to his. You sold babies, she said, her voice a low, controlled burn. You tore mothers from their children. You destroyed families. Lawyer, he repeated, his voice strained. Helena felt a deep, searing anger rise within her, but she took a breath, contained it, and stood up. Take him away, she told Andre. 2 more agents entered, hauled the man to his feet, and escorted him out. Helena was left alone in the room with Juca. The silence was heavy, but it was different now. It wasn't empty. It was the silence of victory. We got him, boy, she whispered. Juca rested his head against her leg, exhausted but content. The team was cataloging the last of the evidence when it happened. Helena was outside, taking a breath of the cool morning air. Juca rested by the wall. An engine roared to life, the sound growing louder, closer. Car! Andre yelled. A pickup truck tore into the alley, accelerating straight for them. Move! Helena shouted. Agents scrambled for cover. The truck screeched to a halt just feet from the warehouse entrance. A tall, powerful man with a desperate look in his eyes leaped from the driver's seat. Where is he? The man bellowed. Where's my partner? On the ground, Alvaro ordered. Hands on your head. But the man ignored him, lunging for the corridor, trying to get inside. Helena blocked his path, her weapon raised. It's over, she said, her voice steady. The man stopped. His eyes swept over the scene. The police cars, the agents, the boxes of evidence. His shoulders slumped. You don't understand, he rasped. We understand perfectly, Helena replied. He took a step back, his hand darting toward his pocket. Don't do it, she warned. But the movement was too fast. Something glinted in his hand. Juca reacted. He launched himself forward. Even with the limp, even with the pain, the dog threw himself between Helena and the man, barking, a fierce, protective wall of sound. The man flinched, his hand faltering. The object fell to the ground. It was a cell phone, not a weapon. On the ground, Alvaro shouted. Last chance! This time, the man collapsed, trembling and defeated. Andre cuffed him and led him to a squad car. Helena knelt beside Juca. The dog was panting heavily, his paw bleeding again. You're insane, she murmured, her voice thick with affection and gratitude. You saved my life. Again. Juca licked her hand, tired but happy. Get him to a vet, Helena said to Andre, her tone leaving no room for argument. Now. I won't take no for an answer. I'm on it, Andre replied. Helena carefully lifted Juca into the back of her vehicle. He was heavy, but she didn't care. Rest now, she whispered. You've earned it. Alvaro approached, his expression softer than usual. That dog is special, he said. He's more than special, Helena replied, stroking Juca's head. He's family. The hospital was quiet when Helena arrived at 3 in the afternoon. Ligia, a nurse, was waiting at the reception desk with a warm smile. I heard the news, Ligia said. Sounded intense. It was, Helena admitted. And the dog? At the vet. He's going to be fine. That's wonderful, Ligia said, leading her toward the neonatology wing. Helena felt the weight of the last few hours, but also a profound sense of lightness. How is she? Helena asked. She's doing great. She finished a whole bottle today. Helena stopped in front of the large glass window. The baby was awake, her dark eyes open, observing the world around her. She's grown, Helena said softly. They always do, Ligia replied. A hesitant, familiar voice spoke from behind her. Mom? Helena turned. It was Camilla. 34 years old, with her grandmother's eyes and a posture that held years of distance. Camilla, Helena said, surprised. I got your message, Camilla said. Your messages. I know I haven't been responding. No, Camilla agreed. You haven't. A heavy silence stretched between them, filled with unspoken things. Ligia discreetly excused herself, leaving mother and daughter alone. So, this is her? The baby? Camilla asked, moving closer to the glass. She stared at the tiny infant, and something in her expression shifted, softened. She's so little. Very, Helena said. And you saved her. Juca saved her, Helena corrected gently. I just helped. Camilla was quiet for a long moment, just watching the baby. Then she turned to her mother, her gaze direct. You were never like this with me. Helena felt a familiar ache in her chest. The truth of it stung. I know, she said quietly. And I am so sorry. Why? Camilla asked, her voice cracking slightly. Why now? Why with her? Because I made it in time, Helena said, her own voice thick with emotion. This time, I made it in time. Camilla looked at her, confused. That other time, Helena explained, the case that broke me, I couldn't save her. The missing child, Camilla whispered, remembering. Yes. I was too late and I never forgave myself. And so you pushed me away, Camilla stated, not as a question, but as a fact she was finally understanding. Because I was terrified, Helena confessed, the words she'd held back for years finally tumbling out. I was terrified of failing you too. Camilla took a deep breath, her hand resting against the cool glass. That's idiotic, Mom. I know. But I understand, Camilla said softly. Helena looked from her daughter to the baby. 2 generations. 2 chances. Can I try again? Helena asked, her voice barely a whisper. With you? Camilla was silent for what felt like an eternity. Then her hand moved from the glass to find Helena's. The touch was tentative, hesitant, but it was real. "We can try," she said. Helena squeezed her daughter's hand, never wanting to let go. On the other side of the glass, the baby let out a tiny yawn. Small, fragile, but alive, and everything was worth it. 3 weeks later, the federal police kennel was decorated with balloons and banners. Helena, in her dress uniform, stood with Camilla by her side. They had eaten lunch together earlier that day. "Nervous?" Camilla asked. "A little," Helena admitted. "He deserves this." "He deserves more than this," Helena agreed. Alvaro tapped the microphone. Agents and photographers took their positions. Andre emerged, leading Juca. The dog wore a new, gleaming harness, and his paw was completely healed, leaving only a faint scar, a small reminder of his courage. "Ready, boy?" Andre asked. Juca's tail thumped twice against his leg. The ceremony began. Alvaro spoke of dedication, service, and heroism. Helena listened, but her eyes were fixed on Juca, who sat perfectly still, a true professional. "And now," Alvaro announced, "the Medal of Honor." The crowd applauded. Helena was called to the front. She took the medal, a heavy piece of metal on a blue ribbon, a golden star at its center. She knelt in front of Juca. The dog looked into her eyes. "This is for you," she whispered. "For everything." She fastened the medal to his harness. Juca didn't move, just watched her. "Good boy." More applause. The flash of cameras. Through it all, Juca remained serene. After the ceremony, Helena took Juca to the lawn. Camilla joined them. "May I?" she asked. "Of course." Camilla knelt and gently stroked Juca's head. The dog leaned into her touch, his tail sweeping across the grass. "He's incredible," she said. "He's my best partner," Helena replied. They sat there for a while, Juca between them, as the sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. "And the baby?" Camilla asked. "She has a name now," Helena said. "Luz." "That's beautiful." "It means light," Helena explained. "Hope, a new beginning." "Like you?" Camilla asked, looking at her mother. Helena met her daughter's gaze and smiled, a small but genuine smile. "Like us." Camilla smiled back and took her mother's hand. Helena looked around, at the kennel, at her colleagues, at Juca, at Camilla. Everything that mattered was right here. Everything she had almost lost, and everything she had fought to get back. The medal on Juca's chest glinted in the fading light, a symbol of their victory. But the true victory was inside her, in a heart that was finally mending. Juca yawned, then lay down in the grass, finally at rest. Helena placed a gentle hand on his head. "Thank you," she whispered. The dog sighed, content. Complete. And in a hospital, miles away, a baby named Luz slept soundly, protected and loved, ready to live. The story ended there, but for all of them, life went on. Together.